Hello people, today I'm going to be ranking my favorite director, all of his movies except for The Following, and that is Christopher Nolan. I haven't yet to see The Following, but I decided this is like, The Following is one of his movies, but everyone puts it in last place, so yeah, I'm just gonna, I didn't want to spend $27 on the Blu-ray, so I'm just gonna go ahead and rank these. Anyways, so yeah, coming in at number 10, just, yeah, letting you know I love all of these movies. Every single one of them I absolutely love. So don't take it to heart if I have it in the bottom 2 or 3 or 4, because remember, I love every single one of these movies. Number 10 is Batman Begins, a fantastic entry to the Dark Knight trilogy. It's just I thought the action could have been directed a lot better because there's a lot of shaky cam, and the suit with it's kind of weird. And at this point, I'm nitpicking. I love Batman Begins. It's a solid origin story. It's told very well, directed very nicely. The musical score by Hans Zimmer, and who else did the score for this one? I know someone else collaborated with Zimmer for this one, but they both did a very, very, very good job. And yeah, coming in at number 9 is Insomnia. This is a fantastic movie, and it's technically one of the better movies he's made. It's just not the Nolan signature, because this is a Nolan ranking, and just the Nolan signature is not necessarily there. It's very well directed, and you could tell sometimes that he directed it. It's just, he didn't write this movie. It's an adaptation. He did do a very good job on this. Of course, Al Pacino is great, and Robin Williams is really good, and I'm surprised I haven't heard this movie get more buzz than what it has. But at the very beginning, I was very concerned about how it was just gonna be another murder mystery, but they make it something a lot more interesting and very intriguing. And I really do like Insomnia. It's just not the Nolan touch because this is the Nolan ranking, and so this is the least Nolan movie that he's made. So yeah, but it's still a very good movie. Coming in at number 8 is The Prestige. I watched this very recently, and I've only seen it one time, and I heard it gets better with multiple viewings, and so this could go up on the list. But I know how I feel right now. I feel like this is the slowest of his movies, but it's still very fantastic. Everyone gives a fantastic performance. Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, they all give fantastic performances. But the twist you don't see coming, oh yeah, Michael Caine is in this movie. So I forgot he's in there. And he did also give another great performance. And I read a comment on a video one time for like a Dark Knight trailer, I believe, and someone said, starring my cocaine. I can't, so whenever I hear Michael Caine, all I can hear now is my cocaine. That's all I can hear when I hear Michael Caine. You're welcome. I just got that in your head now because I cannot get it out of mine. But yeah. Anyways, The Prestige is a fantastic movie with a fantastic twist, and the Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale make the movie for sure. Anyways, coming in at number 7 is a fairly unpopular opinion. I know people have this a lot higher on their list, but I still love this movie. Remember, this movie I'm about to show you, I give this a 9.5 out of 10, and that is Memento. It's low on the list, but it's still a masterpiece. That's how highly I think of Nolan. The way that they comprehensively told a movie backwards and another story simultaneously forwards, and the way that they strike that balance is perfect. Guy Pearce is fantastic in this movie and gives one of the best performances I have ever seen him give. Who else is in this movie? This girl did a good. Carrie Ann Moss, she gave a fantastic performance as well, and it really works. There's many twists and turns, and it works very well for the story that they're telling, and it's very Nolan-like, and so I love the way they mess with time, and it's one of the most original movies he has ever made. Coming in at number 6 is Dunkirk. I love Dunkirk. When I first saw this movie, this would have been a lot lower on the list, but the more and more I watch this, the more and more I like it. Nolan has a very good way of doing that. The more you watch the movie, the more you like it. And that's definitely Dunkirk for me so far. I know characters lacking, but that is for sure. But the craft behind this movie honestly just makes the whole thing for me. Especially the aerial fight sequences are fantastic. It's some of the best sequences Nolan has ever made, for sure. even though, like I said, everyone does give a good performance, even though characters is lacking and there's very minimal dialogue. But besides that, I had no problems with the actors themselves. The IMAX shots are beautiful to look at. This movie is mostly shot in IMAX, and so it takes up all of your screen, and it's amazing to look at. Tom Hardy is very, very good with eye acting in this movie. The emotional heart is definitely there, even though the characters are lacking. But as long as the movie has the heart, that's all that really matters. And characters aren't there, but the heart of the story is definitely there. And so that's why I love Dunkirk, and it keeps getting better the more and more I watch it. Heck, who knows? By the end, if I watch this like another 10 times, it might be like number 1. Who knows? But yeah, coming in at number 5 is a very controversial pick, I think, and that is Tenet. This would have been a lot lower on the list if I did this ranking immediately after I saw Tenet. But I've seen this movie a total of about 6 times now, and it keeps getting better and better. First time I saw this, I gave it a 9. Second time I watched this, I gave it about a 9.3. And then I stuck with the 9.3 for a while, and I watched it again last night, which actually inspired me to do this ranking, and I gave it a 9.6. So, even though the characters they say are lacking, John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, and Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh all give amazing performances. Character is lacking, yes. And Elizabeth Debicki, well, her character isn't necessarily lacking. It's just she's the side character. But everyone does give a fantastic performance. And the more and more you watch this, the more character you see out of Robert Pattinson. And John David Washington, yes, I will admit, his character is extremely lacking in this movie. But for the story that they're telling, for this complex story, it's fun to dissect for me. This is a fun movie for me. I love dissecting movie action and stuff, and I love the sense of knowing there's a way for this to make sense, but you can't necessarily grasp it yet. And I know at one point I will be able to fully understand this movie. I know the audio mixing isn't the best, but besides that, like I said, also Ludwig Göransson's score for this is fantastic. It doesn't necessarily fit the scene every single time, but it does matter. It's a fantastic score either way. I know, like I said, John David Washington's character is lacking, but I think Nolan put in little details, little motions, little lines that you really don't catch until the 4th or 5th viewing, where you think, well, actually that shows a lot of their character. But there's this one scene towards the beginning. If you have seen this movie in the theaters and you didn't like it, I recommend that you watch it again with subtitles, because I got a lot more of John David Washington's character, because in the very beginning, they're of course trying to save this amphitheater from being blown up while they need to extract this one guy. And so at one point they said they're taking out the audience. Why? They're like, well, it's a cover-up for that's they want everyone to assume that they're dead so they can do what they really need to do. And then John David Washington says, well, I'm going back out there. And he says, that's not our mission. And he says, well, that's mine now. You wouldn't have heard that at all if you didn't have subtitles on, because subtitles honestly saved this movie and makes this movie a little bit better, to be completely honest. And like I said, subtitles helped, added more character with the subtitles, because you actually hear what they're saying, the little details and jokes that they make, and it really does work. And like I said, I love Tenet, and I had to really elaborate on this one because I know people have this like almost close to last. But yeah, coming into number 4 is another movie a lot of people have a lot lower, and that is The Dark Knight Rises. I love this movie. There was a point in time in my life where I was a stupid little 7-year-old, and I would have called this my my favorite movie of all time. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but it's on my favorite movie list for sure if you follow me on Letterboxd. But yeah, The Dark Knight Rises, it perfectly concludes the Dark Knight trilogy. Yes, I know it gets a little distracted at some points, but I think it did the best that they could with what they had to work with. With Chris Nolan, like, it's a satisfying enough ending. It really worked. Remember, as a 7-year-old, I loved this movie. I know there's not a lot of Batman. This movie has a strong emotional core, and I know that people's big complaint about these Nolan movies is that not all of them are necessarily too heartfelt, but I think Dark Knight Rises is probably his second most heartfelt movie, and it's really satisfying to watch. Like I said, Hans Zimmer's score is fantastic, and Bane as Tom Hardy was extremely threatening. He scared the crap out of me when I was 7 years old, and I still get that fear kind of today. Like I said, the IMAX scenes are fantastic in this to look at. The feeling of suspense that you have, I was just gratified from beginning to end with this movie, and I could watch this a million times and not get over how much I love it. Anyways, coming in at number 3 is Inception. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did not like this movie at all when I first watched it, and I've watched it about a total of 8 times now, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Inception is just a complete... I don't even know how to describe it. It gets better the more you watch it, the more you understand, you catch up, and the little details that you get out of it each time is just it's movie perfection. It's truly one of my favorite movies of all time. I think this is better than Tenet, even though I enjoy watching Tenet more, if that makes any more sense, because it's a little bit more action-packed. But Inception, it's completely psychological. Leonardo DiCaprio and the whole entire other cast, Tom Hardy, the guy that plays Robin, can't ever come up with it, think of his name. They all get fantastic performances. It could be very exposition heavy, but the complete second half of the movie is a complete nail biter for a whole hour. It's a complete nail biter. There's little details, there's cool visuals, there's great action. The first hour is definitely worth the second hour, and I absolutely love Inception. So coming in at number 2, what's it gonna be? Everyone's number 1, and that is The Dark Knight. I absolutely love The Dark Knight, and I don't really think I really appreciated how good The Dark Knight was until 2020. Because I watched The Dark Knight about 5 times in 2020, maybe more. It's because 1, Heath Ledger's performance, 2, Hans Zimmer's musical score, 3, Christopher Nolan, 4, Batman. It's everything I want out of a movie, to be completely honest. The Dark Knight feels like it's made for me. I'm surprised that it's not my favorite movie of all time. It's like my number 4, but I've almost impressed myself because I love this movie so much. It's honestly felt like I love superheroes and I love great movies. And this is the best comic book movie, period, ever made. It gives you the suspense that you want. It doesn't throw jokes at you like a silly Marvel movie sometimes. Not to call Marvel movies silly. I love Marvel. But you have to admit, this is just on a complete different level of cinema compared to the Marvel movies. And I hate to throw that word out there, cinema. I'm Martin Scorsese, I'm not, believe me. But The Dark Knight gives you great performances. It's completely chilling from beginning to end with fantastic scenes. Heath Ledger's performance makes the whole entire movie 5 times better, 10 times better. The whole entire movie is just pure perfection. And coming in at number 1 is, well, you guys know it by now if you've watched my videos, and it's my favorite movie of all time, and that is Interstellar. This is technically not one of Nolan's best movies, and I can't admit that. Interstellar does have problems. The ending is I took astronomy this year, and I took astronomy this year, and I found a lot of scientific problems that are especially within the 3rd act, and I think you guys all know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. But what keeps this movie my favorite movie of all time is the emotional core to this. People call Christopher Nolan emotionally distant. This is probably the most emotional movie I have ever seen. And it's just baffling to me that people dare call him emotionally distant when you have a movie like Interstellar. Matthew McConaughey gives a fantastic performance. Anne Hathaway gives a fantastic performance. Michael Caine gives a fantastic performance. The whole entire cast, Casey Affleck and Jessica Chastain, all gives fantastic performances throughout the movie. The last hour of this movie is just pure everything I want out of the movie. A fantastic score, great directing, fantastic cinematography. Not enough people talk about the cinematography in this movie. But my favorite thing about this movie is, it's just a little thing, but the visuals. If this movie had crappy CGI, it wouldn't be my favorite movie of all time. But I was so immersed by how convincing this movie looks. On every single time I watch this, I believe that Matthew McConaughey was acting in space on a completely different planet. I believed that Matthew McConaughey was falling into a black hole and about to die. I believed everything I watched because it's such a visually awe-inspiring looking movie. Every single visual just grabs me, makes me feel like I'm watching it. It makes me feel like I'm actually looking at Saturn. It makes me feel like I'm actually looking at a black hole. It feels like I'm actually about to die in space. It feels like I'm actually about to catch a space station that's falling into an atmosphere. It feels like I'm actually watching this, and it feels like I'm actually there. Especially if you watch this in an IMAX theater like I did, I felt like I was there. I got a headache watching this, and a good headache, because the best headache I've ever had. But yeah, it's just such a grabbing and emotionally grabbing movie. I know the third act or final thing that happens in the movie doesn't necessarily make the most amount of sense, but it grabbed me by the heartstrings. I felt the heart. I felt like I was there. It just grabs me from beginning to end, and I cannot really express how much I love this movie, and it's my favorite movie of all time. And I know a lot of people have this like at number 7, number 6, but it just grabs me. I feel like I'm there, and that's all. That's the biggest accomplishment that a movie can make. It feels like you're actually there with the characters, because to make an example, with Endgame, I felt like I was watching the Avengers fight. With this, I feel like I was there with Matthew McConaughey in the scene, in every single part. It's just that grabbing to me. I love it. I could probably read you the whole entire script. I could watch this movie a million times. It never gets old. And actually, I'm probably going to watch this today now. So, yeah, that's my ranking of the Nolan movies. Comment down below what your ranking is. I'm curious. So, yeah, anyways, that's it. So, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that. And adios.